Sahanavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitastu ma vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
So Bhagavan used to put it very nicely. Unity, purity, divinity. Unity is thought, word and action should be aligned. You say, I want God, I want moksha, I want liberation, but you don't really do anything about it. You're only saying, but you really don't mean it. Then how are you going to attain it? The first thing is that intense focus. That if I want God, then I have to work towards it. I can't just say I want God and do things opposite to that. So that is the unity. Unity of thought, word and deed, what we call as Trikarna Shuddhi. That is the first step on spiritual path. That is why Ashtavakra tells Janaka, Shama Arjava Dayatosha Satyam Piyusha Bhaja Arjavam. That straightforwardness, the integrity of thought, word and action is the most important thing. And as I mentioned, we all say we want moksha, but how many of us are really, really, really serious about it, that we have aligned every thought, word and action towards achieving it without any other thing contaminating the process or diverting us or distracting us? How many of us? We want God for some time and after that we want the world. It depends. Dukh mein sumiran sab kare. Sukh mein kare na koi. This. Everybody remembers God in difficult times. Everybody thinks when some difficulties come in life, ನನಗೆ ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಕೊಡಿ ಭಗವಂತ ಇದರಿಂದ. Somebody has a problem in life, please give me moksha from this. That is only when we are in trouble. Suddenly we all want God. Suddenly we become what we call smashana. Vairagyam comes. What is this world? After all, it is nothing. That story is there, no? The sour grapes of the fox, like that it is. It is not, when you can't achieve it, it is sour. Like that, this moksha marga is for everyone because I said it's your birthright. That's what you are meant to be in the first place. You are not supposed to be everything else that you thought yourself to be. But then, are you really seriously, intentionally, and with complete sincerity and focus practicing every moment of your life this whole idea of moksha prapti? If not, then how is it arjavam? How is it unity of thought, word and action? So that is the very first step. Most of the people fail because there are a lot of desires and temptations. You want all that and then also you want God, but that is mutually exclusive things. Children knows in Venn diagram sets are there. There is a set called world, there is a set called God. You try to mix both, it doesn't work like that. They're mutually exclusive, as they say in mathematics. You cannot have them together. You want God, you have to give up the world. World in the sense, the worldly desires and ideas. And if you want world, then God is not going to happen to you. So between the two you choose. That is how his path is. It is very clear. That is mala. The impurity of mind is this. No integrity of thought, word and action is the impurity of mind. Once you get it all aligned, it will start flowing from there. Next thing will happen is purity. Automatically mind gets purified because you want God, you think of God, you speak about God, you do everything to achieve that divine status. So that is how purity happens. And when purity happens, divinity is just the other name for purity. If you are pure, you are already divine. So that is what is the process. That is why mala, vikshepa, varana, then paroksha jnana, paroksha jnana, dukha, nivrutti, sukha, prapti. This is how it happens. But let me tell you, the moment you are pure, all the other steps takes no time. It is the first 2-3 steps that takes all the efforts. Means mala, vikshepa, varana. To get rid of this only takes all our life. 95% of work is this only. The remaining, whatever the remaining 4 steps happen in like 5% of efforts. Because you're already there. So Janaka, why he has realized this so quickly? Because he has done this Mala Vikshepa Avarna business for the last whatever number of years of his sadhana. He has met great rishis, performed yajna yagas, done dana, run the kingdom with honesty, with integrity. All these are already there in him. He was already a very pure soul, noble soul. That is why the other steps happened for him very quickly. The moment Paroksha Jnana happened, that is, Ashtavakra started telling, you are always free, you are the self, you are blemishless, all these things. Na kartasi, na bhoktasi, mukta evasi sarvada. He tells him that is Paroksha Jnana, which is indirect knowledge of Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra is sharing, that is the nature of the self. And then Janaka, as if by some magic, he says, I don't know if it's some kind of strength. I got the point very quickly. Janaka himself seemed to be surprised. How did I get it so quickly? And he says, now sir, that I have got it. And then he starts explaining and expressing his joy of that state. So for him, aparokshanubhuti or direct knowledge, pratyaksha anubhuti happened just like that. In 20 shlokas, 19 shlokas, he already got the point. Why? Because he was ready. His all other basic fundamental efforts on the spiritual path were all perfected. So he was already a ready, deserving candidate. Somewhere a shloka comes, I think it's a part of the Kathopanishad, which says, Na varito, na avidato duscharitat, na ashanto, na asamahitaha, na ashantamanasovapi prajnanenam apnuyat. Which means, na aviratato duscharitaha. Those who have not given up doing the wrong things. Na avirataha. Those who are still not detached from doing the duscharita, wrong actions. What is wrong action? Not having integrity of thought, word, and action is the wrong action, because you're saying something, you're thinking something, and doing something else. I want God, but silently, secretly, you're also asking for the world. Such people will not attain it. Because you have not desisted, you have not ceased doing the wrong things, it says, the very first step. Then, na ashanto, who are not of peaceful mind. What Narsimurti said, 5 minutes can you sit peacefully in one place? No. Immediately your hands go, catch a book, catch your mobile, start thinking or doing something else. 5 minutes we can't focus. Mind is not at peace. A peaceful mind is like a calm ocean. It is settled, like when flame is burning without any wind. Adi Shankara says that kind of steadiness comes in the mind. Peaceful mind is always a steady mind. Are we having that mind first of all? Why? Because so many desires, one thought after the other, one idea after the other. It doesn't end. So na ashanto, the one who does not have peace. Then na asamahitaha, who is not focused. Not just mind should be pure and peaceful, but it should also be having the capacity to focus on one thing. No, one thought can you keep in your mind for some time without deviation. No, you start analyzing that, then it goes round and round. So asamahitaha. They're not steady. They're not collected. They are not calm. For such people also it is not possible. Then very nice word he says, na ashantamanaso vapi. Just now he said, na shanta. Then ashantamanasa is what? He says the one who is in a hurry to attain realization, that is Adi Shankara's commentary. He says, Ashanta Manasa, who is the person whose mind is not at peace, who starts meditation today and tomorrow expects Brahma Jnana. Like somebody wrote to me, Swami, I've been meditating, but I'm not experiencing anything. I said, when did you start? How long you meditate? Yesterday I started, I meditated for 20 minutes. And today you want Brahma Jnana. Ashanta Manavaso Manasaha. These are the people who have no patience on the spiritual path. For everything you are ready to wait. You know, to get a university degree, 15 years of education has to go into it. From schooling to high school to university. For that you are ready to wait for 15 minutes. But somehow this wrong notion that it should come to us just like this. Brahma Jnana should happen to us just like that. No, was there effort? Was there patience on this path? If you did not have, then how? And Bhagavan says 3 P's are there: purity, patience, and perseverance. Purity, I just mentioned, your thought, word, and action are in alignment. You only want God and God alone, nothing else. That clarity is there. You do not engage in any action, duscharitaha or duscharita. You are a person of pure character. Then what happens? That purity leads to that ability to wait for it to happen, patience. Everything happens at the right time. Some people are saying, "Oh, these many years we have been with you, or we are devotees, it has not yet happened." I said, Janaka was also doing so much of yajna yagas for so many years. Right time has to come for everything. And nobody is delayed or denied on this path. It is everybody's right time, right things happen. That patience, that faith one should have. So that patience is the second step. And third is perseverance. Despite having maintained yourself pure and despite having had your patience, yet you should not give up the pursuit of this path. Oh, it has not happened. I waited for so long. Then that also can lead you astray from this path. That's why perseverance, you must be persevering. Don't give up. Bhagavan would nicely say in a poem, పట్టిన దేదయో పట్టనే పట్టితివి పట్టినెగ్గేడు దాకా అట్టే ఉండు కోరినదేదయో కోరినే కోరితివి కోరిక చెల్లేడు దాకా కొలిచి ఉండు అడిగినదేదయో అడగనే అడిగితివి అడిగిన తీడు దాకా విడవకుండు తలచినదేదయో తలచినే తలచితివి తలుపు తీరేడు దాకా తరలకుండు. I say it very nicely. When you hear him speak, he'll be roaring when he tells this poem. What he says is that what you have sought for, what you are seeking, till you get it, don't give up. What you have once determined, decided to achieve, till you achieve it, don't give up. What you have desired for it, that's a good desire. I want God, I want spiritual experience. Till you get it, don't stop putting efforts. Until the door opens, he says. Keep waiting. Don't turn away, oh, I waited long, door did not open, let me go back. No, never go back, he says. Going back is not an option. Bhaktuni Diksha Kadu, he said, the true devotee never gives up, never goes back. He will wait, he will die there, but he will not leave. That perseverance one should have in the spiritual path. We don't just attend the Ashtavakra classes, feel very inspired, and then after 3 months, all the inspiration evaporates. We're back in the saddle of the worldliness and riding away from spirituality. That should not happen. That holding on to this is very important. So these are basic disciplines that have to be practiced in order to even reach this space. Because if you na ashanta manasovapi prajnan enam apnuyat, you cannot teach, this cannot be attained by those who do not have this prajnana or this prajna, this idea of self cannot be taught to these people. Even if you try, whatever you try, they won't learn because they are not interested. Bhagavan also used to say, కొంచెం భయభక్తి ఉండాలి పిల్లలకు. Little fear and little bhakti, both are important. When bhakti does not work, bhaya should work. When bhaya does not work, bhakti should work. One of the two. But he says daiva priti, daiva bhiti should not be there. Should not be scared of God. Daiva priti, out of love for God, out of devotion you should do, not out of fear. It's for your own good. But then when you are young, you don't appreciate, you don't understand, then some devotion has to be replaced with some bhaya, means some fear of doing wrong. Daiva priti, papa bhiti, sanghaniti. So but it is a lesson. Even if you sit there, something will go inside you, I know. Ashtavakra himself learned so much in his mother's womb, isn't it? So even if you're present in a good atmosphere, in a positive atmosphere, something good will rub on to you. The doha is there, काजल की कोठी में कितनों ही सयानो जाए, एक पग लागी है तो लागी है, something like that, which means however smart you are, if you enter a room full of charcoal, kajal is not even charcoal, what they apply to the eyes, you see the black thing. If you enter a room full of that, however smart you are, at least even if you try to save yourself, something will definitely rub on to you. At least a little bit of stain will happen to you. Likewise, when you enter a room full of wisdom, even if you decide not to become wise, some wisdom will enter you. That is the power of things, company, sangha. So that sangha is important on the spiritual path. Staying in the company of right people and contemplating on the truth every day, every moment is very important. So that, and then having the patience to wait for it to happen at the right time. You can't hurry it up, you can't rush it, you can't hasten it. It won't work out. You won't understand. Shanai hai, shanai hai. Slowly, slowly you should become used to the spiritual knowledge. That is why I mentioned why we started Ashtavakra Gita after 5 years of you reading Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. Because some preparation has happened. Directly, if I tell you all these things, this is not going to make any sense to you, and even if you may misunderstand, that is worse. But 5 years we have studied Upanishads, we have studied Bhagavad Gita, we have engaged in so many spiritual talks and activities that everybody knows a little or more of these ideas. So it is easy. I'm sure there are those who are very new, they are still struggling with some of these ideas, but they will get over it slowly. In a class, there are all kinds of people, but then teacher has to maintain an average pace of teaching for everybody's sake. Some who are lagging behind, they have to put extra effort to catch up. So like that, some people have to put extra effort. But not putting effort and just sitting there thinking something, some magic will happen to me also. For Janaka also it happened like that. No, it's not going to happen. Janaka had prepared himself in all these years of sadhana. So he was very ready in one chapter or whatever. It is just a symbolic way of saying that little he listened to it and immediately he has got enlightened. Somewhere in Ashtavakra, somewhere it says, the one with the sattva buddhi can learn like these things. Yatha tathopadeshena, whatever be the discourse, the teacher is also at fault, not teaching properly. Still, Krithartha Sattva Buddhiman, it says. The Sattva Buddhi person gets it like that. Whereas, Ajivamapi Jignasu Parastatra Vimuhyate. Whole life also idle curiosity. The person with idle curiosity doesn't get it, even if he listens to it for the whole life. That's why Ascharyo Vakta Kushla Asya Labdha. That is the idea. Both have to be deserving. And this deservedness, that he is of peaceful demeanor, he has given up all wrong things, he has given up all the worldly ideas. He is somebody who is very collected and calm and composed. He has all the patience in the world to wait for it to happen. He is not bothering himself or the teacher. All this has happened to Janaka, and that is why immediately this Jnanodaya is happening to Janaka. That is how it has been taught. And now how he beautifully thinks. He does not think of himself as some petty little body, mind. He thinks of himself as the great self and becomes, in a way, a devotee of himself. He is adoring himself for what he is. Oh, I was so great, means as a self. And then I did not know, and I was living in ignorance. Now that I've realized, I feel so liberated, so happy. I worship myself. People hate themselves. Some people say, I hate myself, I hate myself. I've heard many people say this. And some people say, I love myself because they know their good things. But here is Janaka worshipping himself, adoring himself because of this realization. It's beyond him to have experienced this on his own. And so he's delighted because the reward is much bigger than his efforts so far. So he's extremely delighted. Of course, that has happened because of the grace of the Guru. And now he's able to enjoy that state of absolute peace and bliss. So we will go to the 12th one now, which is on page number 104. Again, he continues to say the same thing in his exclamation. Aho aham namo mahyam eko aham dehavanapi क्वचिन गंता नागंता व्याप्य विश्वम अवस्थितः अहो अहम नमो मह्यम. Oh, the exclamation of joy. I bow down, namo mahyam, I bow down to myself. Myself means the higher self. Because when you want to speak to somebody, you have to still deploy your mind and body. So that is the lower self, you think like that. Which using his mind and body, he is singing the glory of his own Atman, his own self. Namo Mahyam, I worship myself, I bow down to myself. Ekoham, I am only one. Dehavanapi, even though I have a body, but I am only one. What he's saying is that I am not this Janaka trapped in this body, mind. I am that one self which pervades everything. Even though I am identified as one body with a certain name or form, yet I am that same one which permeates everything. That is the idea. My body does not define me anymore. My body is not my identification anymore. So even though I have a body, I still am beyond. I am the same one self which is there in all the bodies, everywhere. And kvachit na ganta na aganta. Neither I go anywhere nor I come from anywhere. See, Jagat by definition is Jagat, that which comes and goes. He says, I am none of that. I don't come from anywhere, I don't go anywhere. I am always there. Vyapya Vishwam Avastitaha, and Vyapya, I am all pervading. In this whole world, Vishwam means everything around me. Avastitaha, I am in all. I am not somebody who comes and goes. What comes and goes? Our body comes and goes, right? We learn from Bhagavad Gita what happens before we are not manifest. Avyaktadini bhutani, vyakta madhyani bharata. Avyakta nidhanan deva tatraka paridevana, he says. We are unmanifest in the beginning, then we become manifest as the body when we are born to a certain parents in a family, and then we die, and then we seem to have gone back, gone away, or disappeared. Now he say, I am none of this, because he is saying, first line says, Dehavanapi, though I have a body which is meant to come and go, I am not somebody which comes and goes. I am not somebody. The second line is a continuation of that idea that since I am not the body, so there is nothing like coming and going for me. I am not part of this Jagat which comes and goes. I am the self which is always there. Like the waves form on the ocean, they come from nowhere, they go nowhere. If you ask one of the waves, where did you come from? Where are you going? What will the wave reply? I don't come and go. I am the ocean. Waves happen on that, but I am always there. So he identifies himself with that water, the self, not with the waves. He identifies himself with the gold and not the bangles. He identifies himself with the space, not the buildings that come and go. So that is the idea, which he has already explained in previous shloka, how he thinks of himself. So this is why he says, though I have a body which seems to come and go, I have a date of birth and date of death, yet I am none of these. I am the self which was there before the birth happened, and I am the self which is now, and I will be the self even after this body dies. And I am in everything and everyone. I am not just limited to this body of Janaka, age of Pancha Mahabhutas. Our scriptures, the idea of body coming, going, Krishna has given enough Upadesha because Arjuna was so stubborn, did not want to fight the battle. He said, my uncle will die, my cousin will die, my teacher will die. Then he tells him, who is dying, who is not dying. Anyway, everybody dies. Then he gives the whole, and everybody knows Vasansi, Jirnani, Atha, Vihaya. Everybody knows this shloka everywhere. Especially when people are dying on their deathbed, these shlokas are chanted. So that at least towards the end, they will get this feeling that I am not the body and they'll get detached. Otherwise, you have to do 13 days of puja, you know that? Why do we do 13 days of puja and then 13th day Vaikuntha Samaradhana? Because the soul is so attached to the body. They say it keeps hovering around the roof of the house, not leaving the place because it wants to somehow enter the body back. That's why we burn the body before the sunset. Because the soul is, the disembodied soul is so uncomfortable without a body. It wants to get back to the body because it doesn't know that it is not body. So it feels it's lost its identity. It's what we call identity crisis now. Who am I? I've left the body behind. Now I'm floating up in the air of the house, near the roof, they say. So don't, and many people tell when you enter these houses also you have to enter with care because this soul can come and catch hold of you. Because it wants somebody to do what it wants to do. It has unfulfilled desires, ambitions. It wants to get back to body. That's why they immediately burn the body in our this thing. So that body itself is not there, half the problem is then. Where will you enter? Whom you will enter? Then they start looking for other people to enter into them. These pretatmas. So we do all kinds of pujas. First few days we offer nice foods, what they like and all that, saying that, see, all this is being offered. We are telling you nicely, please leave, please leave. That's what we do all the pujas for. We are telling you, we are very grateful to you for being our father or grandfather, grandmother, mother, whoever you are. We are very grateful to you for looking after us so far. But now, you should not be here. All of us are doing that, right? Why do we do this puja? To get rid of them only, no? We are not doing puja so that they continue to hover around the house, haunt us every day and night. Even our most beloved mother, father, we want to get rid of them within that 13 days. Because we don't want them to come back into the body and suffer and make us also suffer. But when we don't do these rituals properly and it has not gone into the head means there is no real head there, but it's not gone into their conscience that I am no more alive as a body. They cannot understand. So finally, on the 13th day, they say, on 10th day, our Yama and his people arrive. If you have done all the Duscharita, then Yama will come. Otherwise, Vishnu will come or Shiva will come, whoever comes according to your faith. And by 13th day, you are done and dusted. Vaikuntha Samadhi, you have gone to Vaikuntha and no more on the earth. Because you want to get rid of them. That is why all these things are done. Pindadanas are also performed because they are living in some other Pitruloka. If they are not reborn or they have not attained moksha, they will be suspended in some Pitruloka. And they expect us to still tell them thanks and look after, because they also want to still, they're attached, they want to look after us. So we offer Pindadana, we do, Pitru Paksha Pujas we do. So if they're dissatisfied, they should not be troubled. They should not come and trouble us. So however dear they are, tell me 1 minute we want to keep the dead body with us. We want to get rid of it. Same body which gave us birth, kept 9 months in the womb and looked after everything from the childhood till the. We want to get rid of that body then and there. Because we all know that body was not the mother. So we want to get rid of the body, but still we want to worship and adore the mother part of it. But we want to get rid of that physical body. That is our way. But we do not know whether we will be able to feel like that. So don't take risk of waiting till the end to repent and regret and then have a compassionate God take you across, or have a good son who will pray for you and do Pitru Pujas and Pindadanas. So don't depend on all that. Attain moksha by your own efforts now and here, so that these problems don't exist after you pass away. That is how those who are ignorant should think. Those who have become Jnani, Janaka has become Jnani, he is no more attached to the body. He doesn't need Pitrupaksha Pujas and Pindadanas anymore. He is already free. He is a man without an address. That's how I can put it again. So attain your liberation so that you are not a burden on your next generation also. Nobody needs to do any pujas for your peace. You don't have to be going and getting stuck in some Pitruloka and suffering there. No need to do all this. Attain liberation now and here. This is what Janaka is saying. Krishna explains and explains, Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka. So many things he says in Bhagavad Gita. The soul is immortal. It is untouched by all the elements. Nothing can kill it. Nothing can cut it. Nothing can burn it or wet it. Na kledayantyapo, na shosheti marutaha. Nothing can happen to the soul, the self. That is the idea. Though in Krishna's parallels, that is Jivatma he is talking about. But Jivatma, Jiva Brahmaiva na para, we know by now, right? It is the reflection of the object. So it is not destructible. So Janaka has realized that how happy he is, because he has lost all fear. Biggest fear is Bhayam. Bhayam, Bhayam, Bratuku Bhayam. Bhagavan used to sing. Fear, fear, fear of death. All the time it troubles the man. He used to sing like that. So that fear is gone because he has attained that wisdom that I am not the body. Though I am identified with one by the world, though I have a name, a form, an address, an ID card or whatever. But none of this truly define me or identify me. I am the self. And I am just not in this body, I am everywhere. Because I am the self. What a liberating thought. We go to the next sloka. In the same vein, he continues on page number 108. Aho aham namo mahyam. Again the same exclamation. Daksho nastiha matsamaha. Asansprashya sharirena yena vishvam chiram dhritam. What a beautiful idea. These slokas itself are so elevating. It says again, I bow down to myself. Why this time? Daksho nasti matsamaha. There is nobody more capable than me as a self. There is nobody more powerful, capable than me. Why? He explains. Asansprishya sharirena yena vishvam chiram dhritam. Without even being touched by my body or without holding anything, the whole Vishwam, this entire universe, chiram dhritam, I am bearing, I am holding, I am sustaining. Chiram, forever. What is saying? Without the touch of my body itself, I am able to bear the weight or whatever, bear the entire universe, sustain it. See, to hold anything or sustain anything, you must hold it like I am holding the book. Now I am bearing the book. If I don't hold it, it will fall. But he says, without even touching anything here with my body, I am sustaining and maintaining and bearing the entire universe. Think of space, the cosmos. So many planets are there. How heavy is Earth? How heavy is Moon? How heavy is Sun? How heavy is Venus, Mercury, and all the galaxies and the universes and multiverses? All of them are sustained where? In the space. Does the space feel the weight of all this? Oh, too much of sun, too much of earth. I can't bear it anymore. I must drop it. Drop it where? It's all space and space and space and more space. This universe is expanding and collapsing. Universe, this is going on. Every minute, so much is happening. One galaxy is born, a new universe comes into existence. Multiverse theory is now. And all that is sustained within the space, Akasha. And space feels no weight for it. I'm bearing the weight of earth. No. In space, everything is existing. And space does not bear any of its weight. Yet it sustains everything. Because space has energy, right? So it keeps the distances correctly between planets and everybody. That is how everything is on track without getting into any accidents. For billions of years, they're going round and round and round. And they never clashed with each other. There was never a deviation from their original path. Because that consciousness, the awareness, the self is sustaining all these things. That is the idea. Think of a mirror. In front of a mirror, if I stand, mirror will reflect me. Now 2 people stand, the mirror will reflect 2 people. 100 people stand, it will reflect 100 people. 1,000 people stand, it will reflect 1,000 people. A lakh of people stand, it will reflect all the people. Does the mirror feel the weight of people that it's reflecting? Oh, one person was less weight, 1 lakh people, too much weight for me. Mirror does not feel the weight and the pressure and the idea of bearing. It just bears everything. Yet remains untouched. The word here is asansprishya sharirena. Without being touched, I am holding on to all these things. My true self sustains the entire universe. That cosmic consciousness sustains everything. And I am not burdened by it. I bear it, but I don't feel burden of it. Like the mirror does not feel burden of the reflections that are reflecting in it. Million people also it stands, it reflects everybody without feeling any weight. In the space, billions of galaxies are there. It bears everything but feels no weight. And it is untouched also. Mirror is untouched by the reflection. Reflection does not stick to the mirror, does it? Do these planets or the whole galaxy stick to the space that they are in? No. Space is ever free. I gave the example. Before that, before this Premamritam hall, this was a football ground. So we would call it football ground. Then we built walls and a roof and call it a hall. Yes, it is called by the name of a hall and no more as a football ground, but the space that it has, that did not get modified. That subtle space I'm talking about, not the volume of this place, not the square feet area. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the idea of the element called space in which everything exists. It bears everything, yet it remains untouched by all of it. Likewise, myself only is bearing the universe, my body, yet myself is untouched by my own body, by my own thoughts, by my own emotions, or by everything that exists in it. That is the idea. Think of the liberating idea that he's talking about. Little things we do, we feel so burdened. At least when we do for ourselves, we don't feel that burden because we're getting, when we try to do a little seva for somebody, oh, I have done so much for them. Selfish we are, right? That we think like that. We feel burdened. Give a responsibility. Oh, there is too much of work. There is too much of responsibility. Especially if it's something that you don't like to do. It's even more worse. Feels very heavier than what it is. Why? Because all the time the identification with our body and mind, which is doing kartasi, bhokta. That problem causes the weight, burden, and this sense of pressure. But for the self, there is no pressure, there is no weight because it doesn't even get entangled or get touched or touches anything. It remains free. That's the idea. Asansparsha. It does not feel the touch of anything. It means it is unaffected. That's the idea. It can do all the things and remain unaffected by it. But without that, none of this will exist. All the galaxies exist in the space. But space does not need the galaxies to exist. All the reflections exist in the mirror. But mirror does not need reflections to exist. Likewise, the self does not need this universe to exist. Self was, is, and will be. The universes come and go, come and go, come and go. Ocean does not need waves to exist. Waves need the ocean, or rather, ocean wave both need water to exist. Water has its own independent existence. When it becomes the wave, it is not getting destroyed or created. It was always there. Waves came and went. So water remained untouched by these modifications of waves and things like that. It was always there. Like that, this self, this consciousness is always there. Before you were born, it was there. Today you are here, it is there. Tomorrow you are gone, it is there. And it is not that your consciousness is there. No, same consciousness is there. Don't get into that trap that my consciousness, there is nothing called your consciousness. There is only one consciousness which is there in all of us. Remove the name and form, there is only consciousness. Break the pot, there is only one space. Ghatakasha, Chitakasha, Chidakasha, all Akashas are same. The name and form has created all the confusion, but Janaka has overcome that confusion. He says, I am the same self which bears this entire universe without even being touched by it or without touching it. Means without getting affected or entangled in anything, I exist. The space exists in this room without getting trapped by it. Air may get trapped, but air is the next element I am talking. Space does not get trapped. Like that, this self does not get trapped in bodies and minds. It's the same self which permeates entire universe. That is how we can think broad-mindedly. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam means that is what it is. Accept everybody as your own because you're not seeing names and forms. You're seeing the consciousness that is the substratum on which everything exists. And you are that is what Janaka is telling. Identify yourself with that consciousness and be free. You can never be locked up. You can never be imprisoned. You can never be trapped in these names and forms. Become free, that is the idea. And this is the ability, he says, that daksha. Daksha means some capacity or ability. So imagine my ability. I thought I'm a king, able to just running a kingdom with so much of pressure and temperature every day because something or the other is going wrong. But suddenly I realize I'm the self. What is this kingdom? I can sustain the whole universe. That is what is happening. And with the little kingdom and its daily affairs, I was getting perturbed and agitated and worked up. But no, I'm not like that. I'm so much more capable. Now you are a passenger, I say, in a car and there is a driver. Car is the body, mind is the driver, you are the passenger. If the car is going through some bumpy roads, the passenger will feel it, right? Like that, sometimes I feel the ups and downs, jerks and, bumps and jumps, as they say. But that does not change my nature. That does not stop me from being what I am. A few setbacks, disappointments, few things that go wrong or some things that go right, none of these define who I am. That is the idea. That I can bear the entire universe yet not feel the burden of it and not be touched or affected by it. Nor I need to touch and affect anything. I am just I am. And everything will happen. This is the idea. Like the clouds that evaporate, that form because of the evaporation of water from the river caused by the sun. They hide the sun. Like that, this Maya also is created by the same mind is creation of self only. But then it affects the self if you allow it to interfere. So that is the idea that he bears, he says, I am the universe, I sustain everything. I was so far thinking I am a king and hardly I was able to manage a kingdom properly. I used to feel burdened and agitated. But now I realize all that was illusion. Because I associated myself with the body and the mind and this idea that I am the king of such a kingdom and all this is my headache and responsibility, I suffered. Now karta, bhokta, all that is gone. Dharma, dharma, sukha, dukkha, all these concepts have evaporated from my mind. I feel free. So as it comes, I will do what it comes, it will do. A lot of this chapter is all this glorifying the self. After that, such practical tips start in the Ashtavakra Gita. How do you really live? What is the state of your mind? How do you behave? How do you act in circumstances? Wonderful tips start coming from the coming chapters. Practically. And I have benefited so much from it. Because anytime I'm in some confusion, as I'm not able to think properly, I'll just repeat the shloka to myself. It will enlighten the entire thinking. Very quickly, it will give you the answers. It has very good few shlokas in the coming chapters. But here it says, Asansprashya sharirena, without being touched by anything or without touching anything, I sustain. There's a beautiful shloka in Mandukya Karika by Gaudapada, which talks about Asparsha Nama Yoga. It says, I have written down here for those, Asparsha Yogo Vai Nama Durdasham Sarva Yogi Bihi Yogino Bibhyanti Hi Asmat Abhaya Bhaya Darshinaha. The shloka is very beautiful, just for cross-referencing and the joy of it I'm reading. Asparsha Yogo Vai Nama, the yoga of the self. Yoga is connect to yoga, to merge. What is the yoga of the self when you merge yourself in the self? It's called Asparsha Yoga. It is yoga without being touched or without touching anything. untouched yoga. It's called Asparsha Yoga, Mandukya Karika says. And Durdasham Sarva Yogi Bhi. And it is very difficult for all kinds of yogis. Karma yogis, Bhakti yogis, Jnana yogis, Hatha yogis, Raja yogis. They find this Asparsha Yoga is very difficult yoga. All other yogas are easier only. Hang upside down, stand on one leg, chant these many times, go to these many pilgrimages, perform these many rituals, do this much of pranayama. All these are easy yogas. What is difficult? Asparsha Yoga, he says. A new yoga where you should not be affected or touched by anything. That is Asparsha Yoga. Durdasham Sarva Yogi Bihi. All the yogis find it very difficult to perform. Then he says, Yogino Bibhyati Hi Asmad. All the yogis of all other kind that I just mentioned, those who call themselves yogi, these, karma yogi, jnana yogi, bhakti yogi, all these yogis, they are scared of it, it says. Bibhyati. They're scared of it because asmat bhaye abhaye bhayadarshinaha. What is fearless, they're afraid of it. They see fear in it. What is mean is that, see, all other yogas are easy to do. If I tell you chant 1008 times Sai Ram, Sai Ram, it is easy. If I tell you go do service in the hospital to the poor and the karma yoga, it is easy. If I tell you, okay, even meditate for 1 hour, sit in one place without moving an inch, it is also easy, though it sounds difficult. Or I tell you to do some penance and austerities, go up the Himalayas and do all these hatha yogas, that is also easy. What is not easy? To remain unaffected and untouched. That is most difficult. That is Asparsha Yoga, Mandukya. He says that is Asparsha Yoga. Remaining untouched by, because yogis develop some arrogance, sometimes it happens. Pure yogis won't do that. But he's comparing with those who are having that kind of idea that by doing this I'll attain that, that kind of idea of yoga. Because Asparsha Yoga means there's nothing to attain, there is nothing that you have not attained. You are free. To be detached is the most difficult part of the life. To remain unaffected, unattached, that is the most difficult yoga. All other activity-based yogas are much easier. This is what he says. There is a story from Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's stories. It seems there was one yogi who had developed the power to walk on water. These siddhis are there. Anima, Lagima, Mahima, Garima, all these kind of siddhis. So this fellow could become so light that he could just walk on water or float on water. So it seems Sri Ramakrishna was sitting with his disciples and talking to them, while the yogi, just to demonstrate his prowess, from the other side of the river started walking on the river and came. Ramakrishna did notice, people did notice, but he did not bother to pay attention and continued his talking. The yogi felt a little offended and he came to this side, it seems, and I'm here like that, announced his presence. And then Sri Ramakrishna Paramsa acknowledged that he's here. And then the yogis tried to, prove to the people, thinking that they don't know what I know. So they said, did you see how I came? They said, how did you come? I came walking on water. Did you see that? I am a great yogi like them. So Sri Ramakrishna asked, how much time did it take for you to develop this power to walk on water? He said, 25 years of my tapasya, I learned to walk on water. He said, you could have given 25 paise to the boatman, he would have brought you here. You wasted 25 years of your life doing something which is not even worth it. Ramakrishna is Asparsha Yogi. He is untouched by these ideas of achievements of some yogic powers. Other fools get entangled in these things. This siddhi, that power, and they feel they have achieved something. But they do not achieve anything. Because they wasted so much time doing something which is not worth, it's not going to help you at the end. Nahi nahi rakshati dukrun karne. So all these other kinds of yogas that people are so proud and so capable of, that is nothing compared to Asparsha Yoga. And people fool themselves doing all kinds of yoga because they're incapable of Asparsha Yoga. That is why they're scared of this yoga called Asparsha Yoga. That is the way of saying that people are so entangled and engrossed in all these silly, petty things because they feel they are somehow growing spiritually. But none of this is spirituality. The spirituality is this being able to stay unattached in all situations. That is spirituality. And that if you have not attained, what is the point in attaining all these things? It is of no use at the end. That is what he is saying. The biggest two events in our lives are birth and death. Untouched by any of these things means you are truly a dispassionate one, right? But only a jnani can be like this. Only a real yogi can be like this. A sparsha yogi can be like this. All other yogis cannot be this. That's what it is just a way of saying that don't get stuck in these little achievements on spiritual paths. And the biggest test of the pudding is, are you unattached in every situation? Asparsha yoga. That is what Jaraga says. I am untouched. I don't touch anything, nothing touches me, yet I sustain the entire universe. That is how we sustain these institutions. That is how we sustain everything. Why? Untouched by its gains or pains. And do it well. Do it with all your heart in it. I'm teaching today. Whether I'll be here tomorrow to teach or not, who knows? If it's meant to be, it will happen. If it's not meant to be, it won't happen. World won't become any richer or lesser by you and me. It was always full. By one wave disappearing from the ocean is not going to make the ocean less or more. That idea is so important to always keep in mind, bear in mind. Then you will not be affected by all these ups and downs of samsara. My, I, mine, these are the problems. The moment you think I, mine, you're done. The body, mind, you're done. That is the trap. On 91 page, this shloka is there, Asparsha Nama by Yoga. You can read it for yourself as a part of the Mandukya Karika. So we finished the shloka number 13th. I'll go to the shloka number 14th. It says again in the same thing. It's on page number 115. Aho aham namo mahyam yasya me nasti kinchana athva yasya me sarvam yadvang manasagocharam. Again another concept. Wonderful concept. He says again, I bow down to myself, the higher self, in which, of whom, nothing exists. Means I am not attached to the body part of it. That's what again he says. Yasya me nasti kinchana. In the self that I am, nothing exists. Or athva yasya me sarvam, in which everything exists. Yat vang manasa gocharam. Whatever is heard or spoken about or understood by the mind, everything exists in me or nothing exists in me, he says. See, very paradoxical. You'll have to take some time to understand that. One side he says, I am that great self in which nothing exists. I alone exist. Or everything exists in me only. Think of a dream and a dreamer again as I am dreaming now. In my dream, a world has been created. A lot of people have appeared. Buildings have appeared. Cars, roads, birds, sunrise, sunset, good, bad, happy, sad. Everything is happening. Where is this dream existing? In whom is this dream existing? It's existing in the dreamer. But is the dream real? Does it even really exist? No. So that is what he is telling. I am that same self in which either nothing exists or everything exists in me. As a dreamer, the dream exists in me. What he says, Yat Vang Manasagocharam, whatever my words or all my senses can experience, all that exists in me only. It doesn't exist outside me because I am the self which permeates everything. Like I am the dreamer. In my dream exists all the things. Whatever is experienced in the dream, everything is existing in myself only. Or think that nothing exists because dream is not real. So it does not exist in me. I alone exist. Because dream is not real. So that is how you have to look at the world. That the whole world is real, it exists in me. Everything is a reflection of Brahman. Everything is Brahman and it exists as Brahman. Not only in Brahman, it is as Brahman, it is existing. Everything. Or because they are different from Brahman, they are a modification or vikara of Brahman. So none of this is real, like dream is not real. So live in the world unattached. How to remain unattached is what he is explaining. Asparsha yoga, how do you practice? Some people say, when somebody asked me, I said, either you believe everybody belongs to you or you believe nobody belongs to you. There are only two ways of looking at your relationships. Either nobody belongs to you, you become a sannyasi, you're free. Or you become a jnani and say everybody belongs to me. Both way you are free. Where is the problem? Some people belong to me, some people don't belong to me. That is where the problem starts. Believe everybody is yours, love everybody equally, you are free. Because you're not attached to one person and suffer because that person suffers. Either you suffer with the whole world, you rejoice with the whole world. Both are okay. Or think everything is a dream, none of this is real, I am not attached to anybody, nobody belongs to me, I belong to none, I am ever free and alone. That is also a way of freedom. But what? This is my son, that is my daughter, this is my wife, that is my uncle, this is my friend, those are my cousins, they belong to me, I belong to them. Rest of the world I don't know about. Then we get bound and trapped in this I and mine. So this is something similar to what Janaka says, I am the self in which everything exists or nothing exists. Nothing exists because in a dream what is real? Nothing is real, so nothing exists in reality. Or if you think the dream is also a part of me only because it has come out of me, then all that exists in me only. Both ways you are liberated. When you only think of things in half way, like some exist in me, some do not exist in me, some are only mine, some others are not mine, then the bondage happens, bandha happens. Otherwise you are free. That is why I say expand your heart so much that it has a space for everybody. All you love equally, somebody less to somebody else. No, everybody becomes your. When somebody asks, why I am not able to pray for other people's children the same way as I pray for mine? Somebody is suffering, I do lip service, samasta loka sukhina bhavantu, but I don't feel it. When my mother is sick, Swami, please cure my mother, take care of my mother. How much intensity is there in that prayer? Why? Because you feel mother is yours, others are not yours. That is then how Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam will happen. Ayam nijaha paroveti ganana lagu chedasam udar charitanam to Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Everything is divine, perfect. Nothing is divine, everything is illusion, only oneself is real. That's also perfect. Either or. Half away is the confusion. So that is what he's saying. Either everything exists in me or nothing exists in me. Means I am ever free. I am ever free. I am ever free. The idea is of freedom. He goes on, says. Some people say, no, in some philosophies, they say there is nothing at the end. We in Hindu philosophy, we feel that we will realize Brahman exists. But because Brahman is not a quantifiable thing, we cannot prove its existence by empirical means. So in some philosophies, they believe nothing exists. At the end, it's shunya. They are called shunyavadis. Everything is zero. At the end, you attain whatever moksha, nirvana. And what do you experience after that? Nothing. A cessation of sorrow is the end of your journey. That's all is their philosophy. This world is full of sorrow. To get rid of sorrow, you have to get rid of desire. At the end of it all, what do you get? What is the falashruti? What is that I'm going to get out of it? No sorrow at the end. That's all you'll get out of it. What about Ananda? Anando Brahme Divyajan. No Ananda also will be there, they say. No sorrow is equal to Ananda. Think like that. That is one philosophy. They say nothing exists at the end. And they also believe and very, very sincerely work towards that goal of attaining that state where there is no sorrow, and that they consider as nirvana, moksha, liberation, whichever name you put it. But they consider there is nothing at the end. Whereas we say as Sanatana Dharma, Brahman is there at the end of it all. Why end? He is there in the beginning, he is there in the middle, every time, everywhere. That is far more, I feel, as a positive idea, because our mind needs motivation. If you say after doing all these things, nothing will be there at the end, it looks little demotivating. But Sanatana Dharma says Brahman is there. And a beautiful shloka comes from Hatha Yoga Pradipika. First paragraph I just mentioned. From Hatha Yoga Pradipika it says, Anta Purno Bahi Purna Purna Kumbha Ivarnave. It means when a pot is dipped into the ocean, it becomes full. Inside also it is full, outside also it is full. Outside also water, inside also is water. Or if you keep the pot in empty space, just the next page, the first top paragraph, there is no shloka, it's written in English as an explanation. So it says inside also there is a air, outside also there is air. Both are, the pot is empty. Idea is that you can look at a pot as full when you dip it into the water. There is water inside, water outside. And if you leave it in the air, there is air outside and air inside. So somebody will say pot is empty when it is in the air, in the space. But it is, or somebody who fills it with water, they think there is water in the pot. Both are perceptions is what is saying. Shunyavadi says there is nothing. And Brahmavadis say there is Brahman at the end of it. Glass is half full or half empty. That is the dilemma. Somebody who wants to look at the empty part of it says this glass is half empty. He is right too. Somebody will say glass is half full. He is right too. But what is the better way of looking at, you tell me? It feels good if you say glass is half full. Like that Sanatana Dharma says there is Brahman. It's not void. It is not emptiness. Like yesterday, loneliness. It is not loneliness. It is there. It's full. It's full. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Our philosophy says everything is completely filled with that Brahman. No reduction, no additions to it. No modifications also actually. Brahman alone is. That idea is very beautiful. It gives you a courage and a motivation to pursue it. At the end of it, there is nothing. One monk met me in Singapore, and he did not believe all these things, whatever I'm saying. So at the end of it, after listening to the discourse, he was very impressed. Then he came and said, "I want 5-10 minutes from you. I have some doubts." Because he was a monk, I had to respect that. I said, "Okay, please come." And then I met him. He said, "See, in our philosophy, we don't believe that anything exists. We don't believe in God. We don't believe in Brahman, either Sakara, Nirakara, no God. We don't believe in this. But your philosophy, you say everything is there, God is in everything. It feels very good to me. Though I am practicing this one, but I feel like practicing what you're saying because it feels good." I said, "It is good, that is why you feel good. We want something at the end of it. You can't say there is nothing at the end of it. All you can get is no sorrow, but no happiness also," they say. I say, no, it's a state of beyond happiness and sorrows. Ananda. Nanda, Ananda, Ananda. It is a different state of existence. It's not boring, it's not dull, it is not loneliness, it is not drab like how it has been projected, spirituality. It is a state of existence which is to be experienced. Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati. You have to experience it to know what it is like. And there is no negative thinking there, there is no limitedness there is infinity, expanse. Yes, dukkha nivritti will happen, sukha prapti also will happen, but beyond dukkha sukha, you go up further to the state of Sthita Prajna. That is even better. Our philosophy says that. He was very touched. He said, "Unfortunately, in our system, they don't teach this. And if we try to subscribe to something like this, we will be called heretics. So we can't even subscribe." I said, "Then when your heart says what is true, then you should follow. No, what is the use of all these other yogas? Asparsha yoga you should follow. Why you are getting attached to ideas? When your heart does not agree, why you are following things? Heart should say it is right and then follow. How does it matter who's teaching you, where you are learning? Or how does it matter what you have learned so far? If it is all wrong, then change it now." So this is what I was telling. That see, we need motivation. We must feel that at the end of it there is something. That something is that state of Brahman, Brahmasthiti, which is ultimate, which is beautiful. That is very important. So here he is saying that everything is me, that is the one realization you will get, or nothing is me, you will get a realization. But I say everything is me is a nicer realization. This whole confusion of Brahma, Satyam, Jagan, Mithya, people read the first part of it and then say everything is Maya, everything is this. When they don't want to do anything, they give this excuse. But the other side is Brahma Satyam, Jagat Satyam also, or Jiva Brahmaiva. Jiva also is Brahman, so everything is Brahman, Sarvam Brahmamayam, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. That is a better philosophy, right? That feels good. So think like that. But Janaka is right in both ways. Half full, half empty, both are right. But I say all are ours, love everybody. That is a nicer feeling than nobody is ours, I am nobody, everything is Maya. That is a little more, dry feeling. But spirituality is a very beautiful thing. Like Raso Vaisaha, Rasa is there in spirituality. There is beauty, there is Satya, Shivam, Sundaram is there, Sat, Chit, Ananda is there. So we have to experience that. That is what's it, that when duality ceases, all this confusion will disappear. If I explain, you will not understand, but this is what is. So one person asked me, "Swami, if I become Jnani, no papa will come to me, right?" I said, "Of course, no papa will come to you because you will not be capable of doing any papa. But no punya also will come to you," I said. "Oh, that is bad. I don't want papa, but I need some punya." I said, "Either or, this is binary. Yes, you will not get any debits in the sense you will not get blamed for whatever goes wrong, but you will also not be praised for whatever goes right. Both are not allowed. You want half of it and the other half you do not want, doesn't work like that. Spirituality means either or. Either everybody is mine and nobody is mine. Either everything is Brahman or nothing is Brahman, everything is Maya. One of the two. You can't have half of it. So live your life like this with this completeness of understanding. But as I said, how much ever I explain, unless you go and this theoretically, intellectually, all this is very good and nice to understand. Your experience comes from unity, purity, divinity. So if you're really, really bothered about your spiritual progress, and that's the only thing in your mind, like the man whose hair has caught fire, can't think of anything other than water. Likewise, that burning tapas is there. Unless that is there, there is no progress on this path. You must develop that, even if you don't develop realization, at least develop that burning desire for realization. If we have achieved that through this Ashtavakra Gita, I think we still have achieved something. If that burning desire is also not happening, it's just a nice intellectual exercise, good food, nice place, escape from all the worldly issues and problems, nice atmosphere. That is not the reason why Ashtavakra has been organized. It's been organized to create mumukshutva in everybody. And not ordinary mumukshutva, tivra mumukshutva. Shankaracharya says, tivra, it should be intense, not ordinary, not some lukewarm, burning. Then you will put efforts on this path. Naturally, you will discard all that which is not useful on this path and you will only hold on to what is right. See, after all these things also, you still entangled in attachments of I, me, mine, us versus them. Then we have not achieved anything. So to expand your heart to either express your love for everyone as your own, as everything is divinity, or become so withdrawn that nothing matters to you, nobody, because everything is Maya. Then your body also should not matter to you. Nothing should matter to you at the end. So both between the two, you choose a path. My path is think everything is Brahman. See the Brahman in everything. Pratibodha viditam matam. Everything you see is Brahman. When I walk, I see a flower, and those who are in Kodai, they all know how much fuss I made out of one dahlia flower. Every day I'll walk down the path and there's this dahlia. It was so beautiful. Satyam Shivam Sundaram means that. I could see the face of God in that little dahlia. Not little, quite a big size it was. Red colored. It was perfect. And this perfection is God, perfection is beauty, perfection is joy. In that dahlia, I saw the presence of God because it was so perfect. And every day I'll walk, I look forward to walking down the path to go to the hall, bhajan hall, because on the way these dahlias were there. And that one particular red dahlia, it just would just draw me towards itself. And I would spend a few seconds watching it, just experiencing the bliss of watching something so perfect. And then by the end of this, so it must have bloomed just in time for us, our Kodai trip. And by the end of the Kodai trip, it was withering away. Another great lesson I learned. See, it came, bloomed, gave joy to everybody who came across that dahlia. Everybody. Everybody felt so blissful and joyful. It did its job, but it never insisted that I shall stay on. Just because I'm getting so much of adoration, love, and veneration, I shall stay on. I don't want to wither. I don't want to die. I don't want to leave this place. No. When the time came towards the end of our Kodai trip, petal by petal, it was disintegrating. And I watched that, how naturally it happened. It never cried, complained. It never wanted to stay 1 minute longer than what it was meant to. It was okay. All the world's a stage. All men and women merely players. They all have their exits and entrances. So beautiful. The dahlia itself taught me a great lesson. Those 10 days, I really rejoiced in the idea of the dahlia and its detached service to the people. It bloomed and it withered and had no complaints about either. But while it stayed, it gave so much of joy to everybody. Become like that, I say. God has sent us on this earth. We have a purpose. Purpose is to give joy to each other. Give that bliss to each other. Our life should be a joyful existence. At the end of it, when the time is over and it has to fade away, it will go away. It does not ask for a little 1 day, 2 day extension or 1 year extension. It doesn't ask. It just does its job, disappears. But has left behind so much of joy. Yeah, there are a bunch of them, but the one which I am holding, the reddish one, it has got one white petal, very strangely. That dahlia. So be like the dahlia is what I told all the people who came to Kodai. That just bloom for the joy of God, for the joy of people, and for the joy of blooming. And then when it's time to leave, leave with dignity, leave with detachment. No insistence on going longer than what you are meant to be. How beautiful the life would be. That is Asparsha Yoga. That is the yoga that we must all practice. Detachment is the yoga.